Greetings, YouTube. I am bringing you my second place deck profile from today at Tubby's TCG in Southern California. Arguably the most competitive locals for Edison format in America. So I have been getting roasted over the past 2 weeks with some of the decks I played. So I went back to Old Reliable. It is a Frog Machina deck, and I had a great time with it. Let's just hop right in. Let's talk more about some of the other decks that I played, because I think a lot of this list just kind of spells itself out. Some pretty standard Frog trap cards. Nothing special here. I was playing Fairies at a locals yesterday, got absolutely mollywopped with 1-3, and my win was a bye. But today I went 3-1, so that was pretty cool. What was I saying? Yeah, nothing special here. Last week I played Dragon Turbo, went 2-2, I think, or something like that. Very first time playing it, so maybe I didn't make the best plays. But what I did open up with on the very first game was triple rejuvenation, double blue eyes, and a red eyes. So that was a bad time last week. So I just went ahead and put this back together, and really enjoyed it. Going into the spells, and this is something I probably might need some help with, is some of the idea for some of the spells. Like I said, the deck ran really smoothly, but I'm sure there are some better options for some of the things I hear. You'll see why this, beyond just the Monarchs, I really like Enemy Controller for being able to grab a Cyber Valley, and Cyber Valley also makes this really good. So we'll just go right into the monsters, make this short and sweet and to the point. So the monsters are split up into three separate piles, because they kind of do three separate things in this deck. We'll start with the Monarch portion. We got 3 Caius, mandatory. 1 Ryza, probably could have been 2 Ryza. I don't know, but instead of a second Ryza, I ran Dark Dust Spirit, which played a lot of key roles today. I think there was one point, the matches I played today were all extremely competitive, except for one Diva Hero matchup. I got steamrolled, but against my buddy Brett playing Plant Zombie, he had a point where he had like Thought Ruler, Titanial, Magical Android Stardust, and like 3 back row, or 1 back row, I forget what it was, and a set monster, which I also forget what it was. But this played a huge role because I was able to summon a Machina Fortress out the Stardust, and then just summon this and pop the rest of his board. So definitely gonna stay with that. I think the Ryza is a good one because it's a great card, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I'll ever see myself need more than one. And 1 Junk Synchron. So also, I think I used it 1 time today to synchro. I used it several times to bring back Swap Frog and just start like walling up. That happened a few times, but I think I only synchroed with it once. Definitely like the one. Realistically, I would always keep these, but either of these cards, I could see them going up to 2 copies. I would hate to open up 2 copies, which is why I stayed with 1 though. And then the 1 Gores and 1 Fader. So because I play the Threatening Roar, Fader is something that I'm playing at 1. I did play a Montage Dragon OTK deck today, which he went turn 1 Cold Wave, summon Montage Dragon, and attacked for game. I thought to myself, man, I wish I played more Battle Fader. The 1 Fader actually ended up winning me game in the game 3 of that specific matchup. But I do go with the 1 Fader because, it dies to Vanity's Fiend and Christia and Oppression and Fossil Dyna. Whereas, something like Threatening Roars and the Econs and Mirror Force, they basically act as I can then set the Threatening Roar, it will survive, and I can, sacrifice it off next turn for a Caius Rise or whatever it might be. So this is kind of the more the Monarch portion of the deck list. We'll go into the Frogs, which, debatable about my Frog choice. We got the 3 Substitute. Got to run the 3 Substitute. Nothing debatable there. This is debatable, as I do only run 2 Swap Frog. So, 1, for space issues, for sure. 2, because when you're cycling through a deck list, right? So, let's just finish this. When you're cycling through, and then we do have this, plus the 1-for-1 that I showed you earlier. If you go early game Substitute, which is what you always want, 4 copies with the 1-for-1, basically. And then you have 2 copies of this to get to Treeborn, and then 2 copies of Treeborn itself. I don't know if there's ever really a time that I've just never had early not turn 1 access to Treeborn, right? If it's not turn 1, it's going to be turn 2 or 3. There's one time today, and that's in I don't know, like 7 or 8 games, and that was extremely rare. And I ended up drawing it on the fourth turn, I think. So it was pretty rare. But when you're cycling through, so if I special summon this with, I don't know, Treeborn on board or something, I cycle through my deck. The reason I like 2 Swap Frog is because you just go through 2 to dump 2 substitutes. So those numbers just add up really nicely. It gives me an extra space. If you're running a third Swap Frog, I kind of have found myself just like sitting with one random Swap Frog in deck. It doesn't send anything extra. It doesn't do anything extra. It's just one more card in deck that could have been, I don't know, literally any other card. And in its place, I do run the Unifrog. So I love the 1 copy of Unifrog with the, obviously, the dupe lock, because we do run the 2 dupes. So I love it with the dupe lock. I love it with the threatening roars and the econs. This just it doesn't keep you in games that you shouldn't be in, kind of like some other cards, but it does keep you in games that you shouldn't be in. So in some matchups, whether it be, like D-Fissure with Gladiator Beast, or hitting an oppression, game 1 oppression, or whatever it might be, it does just it puts in the work. So I always advocate for at least 1 spot main deck for Unifrog. I think it just does too much for the deck itself to not be played at the 1 copy. And so it's just, a really good target to get off of, probably the best target to get off of a dupe frog after you've already cycled through the deck. You can get like a Swap Frog to special summon itself, but everything's already out of the deck. So Swap Frog's not doing too much. Towards Unifrog, you just bring back Treeborn, and then you just normal summon Unifrog. And you have a live Unifrog next turn, backed up, like I said, behind Threatening Roar, Econ, depending on how many monsters they have, Mirror Force, Raigeki Break, whatever it might be. So I do like the 1 Unifrog, and I highly suggest everyone run 1 Unifrog at least. And then going into the main part of the deck. So the reason I went with Machina over, I don't know, Heroes is probably the other most popular variant. Probably the most popular variant is anything hero related, or just standard Monarch, is Machina Gear Frame. Basically Stratos, but the difference between Stratos and Gear Frame, while I think Absolute Zero is the bigger payoff for sure, that's undeniable that Absolute Zero is just one of the best cards in Edison. Pardon me. I think Gear Frame, it's intermediate targets towards Stratos searching out Ocean and Evil Hero. Cool, awesome. What are they going to do? I get to search out Fortress, which actually does an insane amount. The pressure and the power. Fortress is just an insane boss monster. So while it's not Absolute Zero, Absolute Zero relies on you to have, hard draw the Miracle Fusion, but also have the heroes, And even with the E-Call Stratos, Rhoda, potentially Alias, 2 to 3 evil hero monsters depending on build, Ocean, whatever it is, there's not always a guarantee that you'll have those together. Fortress, however, even if I don't draw it with all the other Machina stuff, it's still just a great normal summon, which is really usually just 1 normal summon with the use of Treeborn Frog. Just like a 1 tribute type of thing, right? Gear Frame, being able to search out the Fortress, obviously like a free Fortress, or a free discard again with the Raigeki Break, or, best play obviously is having access to the Swap Frog to return Gear Frame back to hand, and then just resummon it. Fortress also comes with its own Monster Reborn, which is something that Absolute Zero does not do. And Fortress is powerful, obviously, against the Monarchs, and, Zero is too, but I think Hand Ripping card, plus being able to crash into a Zero, and then either, by battle phase destroy the Zero, or by effect if it's boosted, whatever it might be. I really have been enjoying the pluses that are Fortress. I do run the 1 copy of Peacekeeper. I really enjoy this. It is just, a good target that puts Fortress over the level 8 limit to summon it, obviously. But it's also a target for Junk Synchron, which has come up several times where you just, have these 2 in hand, and you go, discard special summon, normal summon Junk Synchron, bring this back, and use its effect. Really enjoy that. So that is the Machina part, but not all the machines. I do also run 1 Cyber Valley. Target for 1/1. Great with brain control, great with econ. It's almost like another Monarch, to be honest. But it is also makes Fortress level 8. So Cyber Valley has been insane, been crucial for a lot of plays. Being able to enemy controller, whatever it is, and then just take their monster and then draw 2 with this. Or alternatively, even just banishing my own Treeborn Frog. If I'm like, hey, I don't really need this Treeborn anymore, I could turn this Treeborn into 2 new cards. And then to go to the Cyber Rally, we do run the 2 Cyber Dragon, which, powerful beater, conflicts with Treeborn for sure, but it's another tribute summon that if I econ take, I don't know, Stardust Dragon or Dark Armed or Judgment or something big, I can econ take, brain control, whatever, sacrifice it for Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon's obviously a special summon to work with Ryza, to work with the Kai's Dark Dust Spirit, whatever it might be. Level 5 also works great with Junk Synchron. So, this deck has seen a lot of like gears just really grinding and working together, to be honest. I'm sure there are a few other cards out there that I could run. I have kind of looked at Jinzo, probably something that is worth a side deck spot. I'm not going to show the side decks. I don't think my side deck is particularly good. But Jinzo might also be like a main deck spot over maybe like Raigeki Break. But I think right now I really enjoy the ratios. If you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. And have a great day. Bye.